The clock doesn't care about your situation. Time doesn't care if you're ready or not. The sun rises whether you choose to get up or not. That's the beauty of it all. The choice is yours, and the choice you make today shapes who you become tomorrow. I want to talk to you about 3 simple things that can change everything in your life. Just 3. But don't be fooled by their simplicity. Most people miss the power of simple disciplines practiced every day. They're looking for the complicated answer, the magic solution, the quick fix. Meanwhile, success leaves clues, and those clues are often found in the most basic habits. Wake up earlier, work harder, say nothing. You see, I learned a long time ago that success is nothing more spectacular than doing things of value every day. It's not about one home run. It's about showing up to practice day after day after day. Some days you hit, some days you miss, but you show up every single day. Now let me ask you something. What time did you get up this morning? And more importantly, what did you do with that first hour? Because I'll tell you something, that first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. The early morning has gold in its mouth. Not actual gold, of course, but opportunity. Opportunity that most people sleep right through. While others are dreaming about success, the achievers are already up, already planning, already growing. You know what fascinates me about waking up early? It's entirely within your control. You don't need permission. You don't need special skills. You don't need money or connections or anything else. You just need to decide. That alarm goes off, and you have a choice to make. Hit snooze and stay the same, or get up and begin to change. Now, I'm not talking about just setting your alarm earlier and dragging yourself out of bed feeling miserable. That's not the point. I'm talking about giving yourself the gift of time, time that belongs just to you before the demands of the day come calling. Time to think, to plan, to prepare, to grow. When you wake up at 5 a.m. instead of 7 a.m., you've just created 14 extra hours in your week. Think about that. Almost 2 full work days of additional time that most people never find. What could you do with 14 extra hours? Learn a new skill, read those books you've been putting off, exercise, plan your day, work on that side business, spend time in thought and reflection. The early morning is magical because the world is quiet. No phones ringing, no emails dinging, no people asking for things. Just you and your thoughts and your goals and your plans. Look at history's greatest achievers. Benjamin Franklin started his day at 5 a.m. So did Ernest Hemingway. So does Tim Cook of Apple. So does Howard Schultz, who built Starbucks. The list goes on and on. Are they superhuman? No. Do they need less sleep than you? Probably not. They simply made a choice to give themselves the advantage of those early morning hours when their mind is fresh and the world is still quiet. Now, some of you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but you don't understand my situation. Maybe you work night shifts. Maybe you have small children. Maybe you have health issues that affect your sleep. I understand. Not everyone can wake up at 5 a.m., but here's the thing. The principle remains the same even if the timing changes. The question is, are you controlling your time, or is your time controlling you? Are you giving your best hours to your most important priorities? Or are you giving your leftover energy to what matters most? Because that's what waking up earlier really represents, taking control of your time instead of letting your time control you. Think about what happens when you oversleep. You rush, you skip breakfast, you feel behind all day, you're reactive instead of proactive, you're playing catch up from the moment your feet hit the floor. Now contrast that with giving yourself an extra hour in the morning. You move with purpose, not panic. You have time to think, to plan, to center yourself. You're making choices rather than just responding to whatever comes your way. You're setting the tone for your day rather than letting your day set the tone for you. The early morning is also when your willpower is strongest. Research shows that willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired as the day goes on. That's why it's easier to skip the gym after a long day of making decisions at work. Your willpower muscle is exhausted. But in the morning, that muscle is fresh and ready for exercise. So when you tackle your most challenging tasks in those early hours, you're giving them your strongest self. Here's another thing about waking up earlier. It's a keystone habit. That means it's one of those habits that, once established, tends to lead to other positive habits almost automatically. When you start your day with an act of self-discipline, it becomes easier to maintain that self-discipline throughout the day. The person who gets up at 5 a.m. to exercise is more likely to make healthy food choices at lunch. The person who rises early to read and learn is more likely to look for growth opportunities throughout the day. The person who begins the morning by planning their day is more likely to stay focused on those plans when distractions arise. One small change, setting your alarm for an earlier time, can create a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. That's the power of a keystone habit. But here's the catch. This doesn't happen overnight. There's an adjustment period. Your body needs time to adapt to a new sleep schedule. Your mind needs time to embrace a new routine. The first few days, maybe even the first few weeks, will feel challenging. That's where most people quit. They try getting up early for a day or two, feel tired and uncomfortable, and decide this isn't for me. What they don't understand is that discomfort is part of the process. It's the price of admission. It's the cost of growth. Think about it this way. When you go to the gym and lift weights, what happens? Your muscles feel sore. That soreness is a signal that growth is happening. The same is true when you change your sleep habits. The initial discomfort is a signal that you're growing, changing, becoming something new. The question is, are you willing to endure short-term discomfort for long-term gain? Because that's what separates the achievers from the dreamers. The achievers understand that feeling good is not the same as doing good. Sometimes the most important things we can do don't feel good at all, at least not at first. So how do you make this transition easier? Start small. Don't try to wake up 2 hours earlier right away. Begin with 15 minutes. Once that feels comfortable, add another 15 minutes. Small steps lead to big changes when taken consistently over time. And have a plan for those early morning hours. Don't just wake up early to scroll through social media or watch TV. That defeats the purpose. Use that time for something meaningful, something that moves you closer to your goals. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's working on that side business. Maybe it's quiet reflection and planning. Whatever it is, make sure it's something that matters to you, something that creates value in your life. Because here's what I know for sure. The way you spend your time is the way you spend your life. And when you give the best hours of your day to your highest priorities, you send a powerful message to yourself and to the universe about what matters most to you. Waking up earlier is just the beginning. The second piece of our success formula is equally powerful. Now I can already hear some of you thinking, work harder. I am already working as hard as I can. And maybe you are. But let me challenge you to think about what working hard really means. Working hard isn't about being busy. Busy is easy. Anyone can be busy. Busy is rushing around, checking email constantly, attending meeting after meeting, exhausting yourself with activity. No, working hard means something different. It means focusing your energy on the things that create the most value. It means doing what's difficult but necessary, not what's easy but unnecessary. It means being productive, not just active. Let me share a story. A young man came to a philosopher and said he wanted to be successful. The philosopher took the young man to the ocean, walked him into the water until it was up to their shoulders, then pushed the young man's head under the water and held him there until he was gasping for air. When he finally let the young man up, the philosopher said, "When you want success as badly as you wanted air just now, then you'll have it." That's what working hard really means. Wanting your goals so badly that you'll do whatever it takes to achieve them. It means having that hunger, that drive, that overwhelming desire to succeed. You know what most people do? They dabble. They try a little of this, a little of that. They work hard when they feel like it, when it's convenient, when it's comfortable. They want the results without the effort, the harvest without the planning, the victory without the battle. But life doesn't work that way. You can't plant apple seeds and expect to harvest oranges. You can't put in average effort and expect extraordinary results. The universe rewards effort. Consistent, focused, determined effort. I'm reminded of something my mentor, Earl Shove, told me many years ago. He said, Jim, never wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. That's the mindset of someone who understands what it means to work hard. They don't shrink from challenges. They rise to meet them. They don't complain about obstacles. They find ways around, over, or through them. They don't make excuses. They make progress. Working hard also means doing what others aren't willing to do. It means showing up when others don't. It means staying late when others go home. It means reading one more book, making one more call, trying one more approach when others have given up. But here's what's interesting about hard work. It gets easier over time. Not because the work itself becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Your capacity grows, your stamina increases, your skills sharpen. What once seemed impossible becomes merely challenging. What once seemed challenging becomes routine. This is the miracle of personal growth. You're not the same person you were a year ago, and you won't be the same person a year from now. The question is, will you be stronger or weaker? More skilled or less skilled? Better or worse? The answer depends on how hard you're willing to work today. Now, some people here work harder and immediately think it means having no life outside of work. That's not what I'm saying at all. In fact, the hardest workers I know are often the ones who have the richest lives outside of work. They understand the importance of balance, of renewal, of relationships, but they also understand something many people miss. The quality of your rest depends on the quality of your work. When you know you've given your best, when you know you've earned your rest, it's sweeter, more satisfying, more rejuvenating. The person who works half-heartedly all day, then collapses on the couch at night, isn't truly resting. They're just escaping. But the person who works with focus and intensity, who pushes themselves beyond what's comfortable, who tackles the difficult tasks that create real value, that person experiences genuine rest, genuine satisfaction. Working hard also means working smart. It means understanding the difference between activity and productivity. It means focusing on what matters most, not just what's in front of you. It means asking better questions, making better priorities. Overcoming that natural tendency requires something more powerful than nature. It requires philosophy. It requires a set of beliefs, values, and principles that guide your choices, even when those choices aren't easy or comfortable. My philosophy is simple. Life is hard. It's supposed to be hard. The hardness is what gives it value. If success were easy, everyone would be successful, and then it wouldn't mean anything. The very difficulty of achievement is what makes it worthwhile. Think about anything of value in your life. Did it come easily, or did you have to work for it? Your education, your relationships, your skills, your achievements. The most valuable things in life usually come at the price of effort, sacrifice, and yes, hard work. That's why I say, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more wisdom to solve those problems. Don't resent the challenge. Welcome it, because the challenge is what makes you stronger. Wishing hard also requires something else. Patience. We live in an instant society. Fast food, fast internet, fast everything. We've been conditioned to expect immediate results, but meaningful achievement doesn't work that way. The results of hard work often lag behind the work itself. You might work diligently for months before seeing tangible progress. You might put in thousands of hours before reaching mastery. You might face setback after setback before finally breaking through. That delay between effort and reward is where most people quit. They work hard for a week, a month, maybe even a year, don't see the results they expected, and conclude this isn't working. They give up just before the breakthrough. But the achievers, the successful, the accomplished, they understand that delay. They expect it. They plan for it. And most importantly, they persist through it. They keep working, keep improving, keep believing, even when the evidence of success isn't yet visible. That's the test of character. Not whether you can work hard when everyone is watching and applauding, but whether you can work hard when no one notices, when the rewards seem distant, when doubt creeps in and giving up seems reasonable. Anyone can work hard for a day. Some can work hard for a week or a month. But those who can work hard year after year through disappointment and setback, through criticism and indifference, those are the ones who eventually succeed on a level most people can hardly imagine. Let me tell you what happens when you talk too much about your goals. Your plans, your intentions. You get a small sense of satisfaction just from the talking. Your brain experiences a little hit of pleasure, a little sense of accomplishment. And that small satisfaction reduces your drive to actually do the thing you're talking about. Studies have shown this. When you tell someone your goal and they acknowledge it, your brain can mistake that acknowledgement for actual achievement. You feel like you've made progress even when you haven't taken any concrete action. That's why some of the most effective people are also some of the quietest. They don't talk about what they're going to do, they just do it. They let their actions speak for them. They understand that talk is cheap, but action is precious. Think about the truly successful people you know or have read about. Are they the ones constantly announcing their intentions, constantly seeking validation, constantly talking about themselves, or are they the ones quietly working, improving? The ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." There's profound wisdom in that. The master doesn't need to proclaim their mastery. The expert doesn't need to announce their expertise. The achiever doesn't need to broadcast their achievements. Saying nothing also means listening more. And when you listen, truly listen, not just wait for your turn to speak. Amazing things happen. You learn. You gain insights. You understand perspectives different from your own. You build deeper connections with others. Most people don't listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. They're formulating their response while the other person is still speaking. They miss nuances, details, opportunities because they're so focused on what they want to say next. But the person who says nothing, who listens fully, completely, attentively, gains an advantage. They collect information. They spot patterns. They identify needs and opportunities that others miss. They build trust and rapport simply by giving others the gift of their full attention. I remember meeting with a highly successful businessman years ago. I was young and eager to impress him with my knowledge, my ideas, my potential. For the first 15 minutes of our meeting, I talked nonstop, sharing my thoughts. Eventually, I ran out of breath and he simply looked at me and asked, "Are you here to learn something from me or to show me how much you already know?" That question stopped me cold. I realized I had been so busy talking that I had missed the opportunity to learn from someone who had actually achieved what I only aspired to achieve. From that day forward, I made a conscious effort to talk less and listen more, especially in the presence of those I could learn from. And that single change, saying nothing more often, accelerated my growth and success more than almost anything else. Saying nothing also means avoiding the trap of complaining. You know what complaining does? It takes your focus off solutions and puts it squarely on problems. It drains your energy. It reinforces a victim mentality. It pushes away the very people who might help you succeed. The person who complains about their boss, their job, their circumstances is broadcasting their negativity and lack of initiative. The person who says nothing about their challenges but quietly works to overcome them is demonstrating resilience, resourcefulness, and responsibility. Which person would you rather hire? Which person would you rather do business with? Which person would you rather be? Saying nothing doesn't mean never speaking up. It means being selective about when you speak, what you say, and who you say it to. It means understanding that words have power to build or destroy, to motivate or discourage, to clarify or confuse. The most successful people use their words sparingly and purposefully. They don't engage in gossip. They don't boast. They don't tear others down to build themselves up. They don't make promises lightly. They understand that their words reflect their character and shape their reputation. Saying nothing also means avoiding the temptation to defend yourself unnecessarily. When you're criticized, when you're misunderstood, when you're underestimated, there's a natural urge to explain, to justify, to prove others wrong. But often, the most powerful response is silence. Not angry silence, not resentful silence, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what you're capable of. The patience to let your results speak for themselves. The wisdom to understand that not every criticism deserves a response. I've noticed something interesting. The more secure someone is, the less they feel the need to defend themselves. The more accomplished someone is, the less they feel the need to prove themselves. The more confident someone is, the less they feel the need to convince others of their worth. They say nothing, not out of weakness, but out of strength. Not out of fear, but out of self-assurance. Not out of indifference, but out of the understanding that actions speak louder than words ever could. There's another aspect to saying nothing that's often overlooked. The power of keeping your own counsel. In a world of oversharing, there's value in privacy, in discretion, in maintaining a certain mystery about your thoughts, your plans, your inner life. Not everyone needs to know everything about you. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams, your fears, your struggles, your strategies. Sometimes the best thing you can do is keep your plans to yourself, work on them quietly, and let the world see the results when you're ready. This is especially true in business and in competitive endeavors. The element of surprise can be a powerful advantage. While others are announcing what they're going to do, you're actually doing it. While they're revealing their strategies, you're implementing yours. While they're seeking validation for their ideas, you're turning your ideas into reality. Saying nothing in this context isn't about being secretive or deceptive. It's about understanding that some things are better kept private until they're ready to be shared with the world. It's about protecting your vision during its vulnerable early stages. It's about focusing your energy on creation rather than explanation. I have one more dimension to saying nothing that deserves mention. The importance of creating space for reflection and clarity. In the constant noise and chatter of modern life, quiet moments have become increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. When you're always talking, always consuming content, always engaged with the opinions and ideas of others, it's difficult to hear your own thoughts, to connect with your own wisdom, to recognize your own intuition. But when you say nothing, when you create periods of silence in your life, something remarkable happens. Your mind settles, your thinking clarifies, your creativity awakens, solutions to problems emerge, insights arrive, wisdom surfaces. Some of the most productive time you'll ever spend is time alone with your thoughts, saying nothing, just thinking, reflecting, processing. Not scrolling through social media, not watching television, not listening to podcasts. Just sitting in silence, allowing your mind to work at a deeper level than the constant stimulation of modern life typically allows. Many of history's greatest thinkers, inventors, and creators made this practice a regular part of their lives. They understood that saying nothing to others and even to themselves created the mental space necessary for their best ideas to emerge. So how do you put these three principles into practice? How do you wake up earlier, work harder, and say nothing in a way that transforms your life? Start with small steps. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier tomorrow. Focus intently on your most important task for 1 hour without distraction. Practice listening fully in your next conversation without planning your response while the other person is. Small steps, taken consistently, lead to big changes over time. The key word there is consistently. It's not what you do once in a while that shapes your life. It's what you do consistently. Create systems that support your new habits. Put your alarm clock across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off. Block off focused work time on your calendar and treat it as sacred. Set a reminder to pause and listen more deeply in conversations. Anticipate it and plan for resistance. Your old habits will fight to reassert themselves. Your mind will offer excuses. Your body will crave comfort. This isn't failure. It's a normal part of the change process. Having a plan for these moments of resistance helps you move through them rather than being stopped by them. Find accountability. Share your commitment with someone who will support your growth and hold you to your word. Check in with them regularly. Report your progress honestly. Allow them to ask you the hard questions when you start to drift from your path. Track your progress. What gets measured gets managed. Keep a simple record of when you wake up, what you accomplished during your focus work time, and how well you're listening rather than speaking. This creates awareness, and awareness is the first step toward change. Reflect regularly on your journey. Take time each week to review what's working, what's not working, and what adjustments you need to make. This isn't about judgment or criticism. It's about continuous improvement. Small refinements to your approach can lead to significant improvements in your results over time. Be patient with yourself. Change takes time. New habits take time to form. Results take time to appear. Give yourself the gift of patience. Celebrate small victories along the way. Forgive yourself when you fall short. Then get back on track without drama or delay. You remember why you're doing this. Connect these practices to your deeper goals and values. When you understand why waking up earlier, working harder, and saying nothing matter to you personally, how they serve your purpose, your dreams, your legacy, you'll find the motivation to continue even when it's difficult. And finally, teach what you learn. Share your insights with others. Not in a preachy or self-righteous way, but in a spirit of service and contribution. When you help others grow, you grow even more yourself. When you lift others, you rise as well. The beautiful thing about these three principles, wake up earlier, work harder, say nothing, is that they're available to everyone. They don't require special talents or circumstances. They don't depend on luck or connections. They simply require decision, discipline, the decision to live differently than most people live. The discipline to follow through on that decision day after day, week after week, year after year. And that's really what success comes down to. The willingness to do what others won't so you can live how others can. The willingness to make sacrifices today for a better tomorrow. The willingness to be different, to stand out, to go against the grain of ordinary. Because ordinary is easy, average is easy, mediocrity is easy. Just do what everyone else does, and you'll get what everyone else gets. But if you want extraordinary results, you need extraordinary habits. You need extraordinary disciplines. You need extraordinary commitment. Waking up earlier than most people are willing to wake up. Working harder than most people are willing to work. Saying nothing when most people can't stop talking. These three simple practices set you apart. They give you an edge. They create a gap between you and the average that grows wider with each passing day. Think about what happens when you wake up just 1 hour earlier than most people for a year. That's 365 extra hours. More than 9 40-hour work weeks of additional time that most people never find. What could you do with 9 extra weeks of focused time each year? Think about what happens when you work just 10 harder than your peers over the course of a career. That small difference in daily effort compounds into a massive difference in lifetime results. While others plateau, you continue to grow, to advance, to achieve. Think about what happens when you listen twice as much as you speak while others are busy sharing opinions, making excuses, and seeking validation. The insights you gain, the trust you build, the opportunities you notice that others miss. These advantages multiply over time. Small differences in daily habits create enormous differences in lifetime results. That's the miracle of compound effect. That's the power of simple disciplines practiced consistently over time. So I challenge you, make these three practices part of your life. Not just for a day or a week or a month, but for life. Make them as natural and necessary as breathing. Wake up earlier, work harder, say nothing, and watch as your life transforms. Not overnight, but inevitably. Not without effort, but with the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you're living intentionally, purposefully, excellently. The clock is ticking. Time moves forward whether you use it wisely or waste it. The sun will rise tomorrow whether you're ready to rise with it or not. The choice is yours. It always has been. What will you choose?